the NDAA of 2013 changed things around teaming really significantly for small businesses. Number one, it changed the limitations on subcontracting rules. So when we do a set-aside, for example, for services, we want the small business to do some of that work with their employees, because otherwise it's just a pass-through, and we really don't need to have set-aside. So we have these rules called limitations on subcontracting that apply to set-asides. In some of our programs right now under the FAR, you have to do all that work, that 50% of your work, with your own employees. On other set-asides that we have, you can use subcontractors to help you meet some of those performance requirements. So for example, in SDVO or Hub Zone, you can use subcontractors right now under the FAR, but in our other programs, you cannot. I'm definitely challenged. All right, where was I? Okay. Okay. So anyway, so we've done this. We also changed the way we calculate it. It's right now it's cost incurred for personnel for service contracts. Under the way it's written, it talks about amount paid. So literally, the amount you pay, 50% of that has to be retained by the small business or a subcontractor. Now, this particular rule from the NDA of 2013, it is in an SBA final rule, but it hasn't been put in the FAR yet. We've worked on a FAR interim rule. It's in the process of being approved and then sent to OMB for interagency review. So we do know that industry wants it, and we're trying to work on it. The second major change from the NDA of 2013 was around the mentor-protege program. Back in the late 90s, SBA created a way for 8A participants to joint venture with a mentor, which could be a large business. In exchange for the mentor providing them with assistance under the program, they could joint venture together and be considered small for any government contract. In 2010, Congress said, create that for Hub Zone, women-owned, SDVO, and so forth. While we were working on that, we didn't get it done until 2013, and the NDA came out and said, create one for all small businesses. So we've done that now. We issued a rule last summer. We started accepting applications in October. We've approved over 230 mentor-protege relationships right now. And so you should be starting to see these kind of mentor-protege joint ventures bidding on your acquisitions. And it's a little bit confusing because you know how I said hey, there it is. You know how I said the FAR hasn't been amended to include the limitation on subcontracting. As far as mentor-protege, we are the ones who decide status and size protests, and we are the ones, SBA, that decides whether someone's eligible or not. So we're trying to open up a FAR case to change all the FAR provisions around joint venturing, but don't make a decision on your own about whether a joint venture is eligible for an acquisition. If they say they're eligible and you doubt that, file a protest with us. You always have that right, but don't be making eligibility determinations on your own. We're the ones who have to do that. And we're going to follow our rules. So right now, these rules around joint venturing are in effect and applicable. Real quick, similarly situated entity, when we're talking about a subcontractor, we're talking about the type of set-aside it is. If it's a small business set-aside, you have to be a small business. If it's an 8A set-aside, you have to be an 8A. We did address differences in size for subcontracting versus prime contracting. We already do this at the large business level. We want the large business, whatever NAICS is assigned to that, we want the subcontractor to have the NAICS that actually applies to that subcontract. And so we're going to allow that here. So you can be a different size than the prime as long as you meet the size standard for your subcontract. And then we did say that for joint venturing, because we're allowing all this teaming, it used to be if you joint ventured, we'd add you together. Now you just individually have to meet the size standard. If you do, you'll be considered small for that procurement. So again, it opens up a lot of capacity to do bigger procurements if you can joint venture together. So this is kind of just the language about what kind of assistance the mentor needs to provide to the protege. And then we do have to take a look at the mentor-protege programs of other agencies by the law that was passed in 2013, I think. Or maybe it was 2015, whenever it was. August 24th, 2016 is the deadline. So I know DHS has their own mentor-protege program. And so the idea is they're going to come to us and tell us if they want to keep it and why it's beneficial and why it's different. I think that all the programs that I've seen are different. Ours is focused on joint venturing. Most other agencies are focused on subcontracting and things like that. So I don't see any reason why we shouldn't have as many of these as we think are necessary to help small businesses. But that won't be my decision, so someone else will make that. But they'll be applying sometime in 2017 this summer to tell us about continuing. All right, so there's my contact information. I tried to be quick and short. I think we're going to have a panel discussion now about teaming. Is that correct? Okay, thank you.